saying, Fox News, about the hot mic debate. Now that we watched mainstream liberal media, now we watch the libtards. Let's watch what the real Americans have to say about this hot mic situation. How will they make Donald Trump seem like he's not the one who's spoiling the fun?
Here we go. We start with President Biden leaving his California vacation for another one in Delaware.
Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump both hit the campaign trail in several key battleground states.
And Peter Ducey is at the White House with the latest. Hey, Peter.
Good morning. And if you saw this photo, you would assume that President Biden...
God, Peter Ducey keeps looking worse and worse, man. How are you going to fucking get on camera looking like that, man?
...is here.
Have some respect.
Walking out of the Oval Office and through...
Chat, please stop sending me the same Harry video. Please, please, please. I beg you. I beg you. We watched it like 8 times since it came out, okay? I love you, chatters. Please. I know. I look concerned, okay? I know I look concerned. Please stop. Sometimes chatters don't get the message, you know? After the 3rd spam, know that I'm like purposely not looking at it. Possibly because we've watched it a million times over at this point, okay? Love you guys. Please stop spamming.
Through the Rose Garden for a private moment with his partner, the vice president, especially since the caption says, "We're working for you." But the president is not here. He left his California vacation for a Delaware vacation. Vice President Harris is in town, but we don't expect to see much of her till Wednesday and Thursday. She will be in Georgia both those days. Her
campaign stops. Harris, Wednesday, Georgia. Thursday, Georgia. Waltz, Wednesday, Georgia. For Trump, today he's in Virginia and Michigan. Thursday he's in Wisconsin and Michigan. Friday he's in Pennsylvania. And Vance, only one stop, Michigan. Now, obviously, I will repeat myself over and over again throughout this election cycle. In the next 70 days, you will hear me say this a lot. This will come down to Pennsylvania. If the Democrats win Pennsylvania, it's a wrap. On 538, it really doesn't look like Kamala got a bump, like maybe 1 to 2 points nationally. Are they reliable? I don't think there was ever going to be a massive bump after the DNC, but I think that bump would have been significantly better if she had done a more progressive, if she leaned into the progressive economic policy instead of talking about how muscular of a military she wants to have, for sure. But I don't know how reliable 538 is. They just recently changed their scoring too. There also isn't a lot of post-convention polls yet, so you don't really know what the bump looks like. It could be larger. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what it's going to look like. There probably will be a post-convention bump, though. Like, it won't depress, in my opinion. But depending on like how big will the bump be? And more importantly, more consequentially, how big will that bump be in a place like Pennsylvania? Because again, this race is down to the fucking margins in Pennsylvania. Okay? I feel like she has to win all 3, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, unless she flips an unexpected state. Yeah, the reason why I'm saying Pennsylvania is because Michigan and Wisconsin are seemingly in the bag unless there are all of these like otherwise non-voters that just come out and are you know, they're not seen in the polls somehow. Michigan is a little bit more contested as well, but we'll see. All right, let's continue.
Battleground of the week. Trump plans to visit Virginia and Michigan today, Wisconsin and Michigan Thursday, then Pennsylvania Friday. Their first in-person meeting is supposed to be September 10th for an ABC debate. The Harris campaign is now telling Politico that unlike last time for Trump v. Biden, they would prefer the mics to be hot the entire time, no muting. An advisor is quoted as saying they think Trump wants the mics muted, but there might not be a debate at all after an ABC interview of Tom Cotton yesterday that Trump did not think was fair. He is questioning now on Truth Social why he should participate in an ABC debate at all. Back to you.
Peter, I just got a text message from your mother. Do you have a cold?
No, I think I just had something in my throat. I'm good.
All right.
Mom, thank you.
All right. Just one other quick question for you. You talked a little bit about the potential debate on September the 10th. They might leave the mics hot. Kamala Harris, in the meantime, one of her press people was on yesterday with Howie on Media Buzz and said she definitely will do an interview before the end of this week, and that she has done 80 interviews so far this year. Does that little 10 seconds that you talked to her a couple of days ago, does that count as one of the 80?
If it does, we should talk to promos and hype it as an exclusive. No, but if you're the Harris team, it's smart because they pushed it off to the last 3-day weekend when people are not paying attention before the election. And so if there is an issue, if she makes a mistake, it's going to get a lot less scrutiny right away than if they do it after the first week of the NFL football, like on that Sunday night.
Well, Peter, her campaign is saying that she's changed her mind on some of these issues, like fracking. She's no longer against fracking, or she's not going to take away our private health.
All the fracking stuff is straight up. Well, it's twofold. One, because Western PA, they want to talk about that. And also it plays into like Kamala Harris's wishy-washy, which I don't know if that's a good angle of attack for Kamala Harris so far. But I would like to see firm commitments to policies from Kamala Harris. I think, come on, it's fucking 70 days, right? What the fuck are we doing? And then they can be like, oh, she said yes to Medicare for all. Now she's saying no. She was the border czar, and now she wants a border bill. Blah blah blah. Like all this shit. It depends on if it's like sticky enough. But overall, as far as like lines of attack goes, if your entire campaign, okay. What? I know you said something similar about the DNC being filled with elites. However, a lot of DNC campaign workers are quitting because they felt like the DNC convention did not represent everyday America. They felt like it was a gathering of elites just throwing a big party saying, let's forget about problems. I was wondering what you thought about it. I have no idea where you're getting this information that a lot of DNC workers are quitting, Miss Riz. Like, who did you get? Where did you source this from? Instagram reel. Okay, I'm not clicking on that. Okay, I'm sorry. Not even a TikTok. Straight up Instagram reel. Love you, Miss Riz. You're cooking. Okay. So, I don't know how sticky the wishy-washy angle of attack will look like, especially when, if you're running a personality-based campaign, okay, if you're running a personality-based campaign, as Trump is, he matches up really well against someone who you can actually hit on the personality front, like Hillary Clinton. Okay? Hillary Clinton was a perfect matchup in many ways for someone like Donald Trump. Joe Biden, on the other hand, was not. Because with Joe Biden, all of a sudden, you're going up against an institutional Democrat who was Obama's vice president, who's been in the fucking Senate for half a century. Okay? He's been in politics for half a century. And yet, like, there aren't many personal attacks you can hit him on. With Kamala Harris, there aren't that many personal attacks you can hit her on either. When Biden first dropped, you were so team coconut. Can I ask why you switched so hard? What? No, I was never team you. I don't like that people personally just imagine or invent what my fucking point of view is, and then they just like run off of that in an accusatory tone. I only said that Kamala Harris would be far better than Joseph Robinette Brandon. I was right. Okay. I also was excited about the way that Democrats, for the first time ever, responded to one, public pressure, okay, which obviously happened to align with donor interests as well, and it happened to align with establishment Democrats' interests as well. But they responded to public pressure. I promise you it's not an accusation. Just want to hear your thoughts. I'm with you 100%. Okay, listen to me then. Listen. I was excited at a change of attitude from the Democratic Party that I had never seen before. Okay? And I kept reiterating, let's see what they do with this. Okay? Let's see what they do with this. Let's see if they lean into progressive positions. Now, why did I say that? Because she chose Tim Walz. She didn't go with the running scared safety pick with Josh Shapiro that would have put Pennsylvania on the board for them. Okay? And instead went with someone with progressive policies under his belt. Okay? That also went against, like, once again, what Democratic Party operatives normally are scared to do. It basically locked her in to defend progressive policy positions. That made me think perhaps they'll run an Obama 2008 style campaign. That guy from chat is 100% right. Bro, you were super live for weeks. You just changed your mind recently. No shame in that. You said you were coconut pilled, bro. I was in the stream when Biden dropped out. You were hyper libbed out for weeks, bro. I think a lot of you don't understand when I am exaggerating or also being an entertainer. It could be because of being neurodivergent. I myself have a little bit of that A-worded dog in me, okay? And I sometimes don't pick up on certain things, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But it would be really weird if I turned around and said /S every time I made a statement and gave you a tone indicator, okay? I also find it very odd, okay? I also find it very odd that people are like, nah, dog, you don't know where you were at. I know where you were at better than you. I maintained cautious optimism, okay? That's precisely the reason why even up until the DNC, when people would ask me like, oh, so are you, endorsing Kamala Harris? I said, I'm not doing that. I'm waiting and seeing. That's precisely the reason why you cannot find a single clip of me actually fucking endorsing Kamala Harris. Okay? Apparently you were really, really, really behind Kamala by saying you were a coconut head. These people aren't serious. I know. It's especially funny, okay? Because a lot of people also that were, very leftist would get mad at me as well in that time frame and would be like, are you libbed up for Kamala? What the fuck is going on? And I repeated that over and over again that I was not, and that I was being cautiously optimistic due to what I was seeing from the Democratic Party. Just you're saying here, the problem with Kamala Harris, this is from 3 weeks ago, in the same time frame that the chatter is accusing me of being libbed up on from August 4th. Kamala Harris could keep Trump out of the White House, but has she earned your vote? So much so that even Zay Squirrel was like saying I'm fucking pro-genocide and shit. Hasanabi Libs, wow, you were being a spoiler. Also, Libs, you were so Kamala pilled on God, bro. And somehow they don't accuse you of being a Republican because you were a Bergamaniac. Yeah, they're too scared of the Bergamania. That's why. A decade of progressive advocacy overwritten by doing a coconut meme. I know.
Health insurance companies. Who was saying that? Is it just anonymous sources, or did you get names of people in the campaign? Like, how do we know she really feels this way? Because we haven't heard from her.
She has not said that out loud. I have emailed, as things have come up, many different people that are working in Wilmington, and they will tell us that on background, which basically just means on behalf of the campaign, they will tell us that her position has changed. But we have not heard the words come out of her mouth. And depending on who she does the interview with, we might not. Because the way that a lot of these interviews go, and based on what the convention program was, chances are it could be a lot about Trump and not a lot about how different her 2019 statements are to 2024.
Well, yeah, it's coming up without her, even on the Sunday shows, which you would think would be friendly environments. So I can't imagine outside Oprah or Rachel Maddow how that would not come up. I mean, Lester Holt and these guys, Jake Tapper, they seem to want to ask.
Chatters, I'm going to make one point that I hope many of you understand in the future. Okay? Okay? I need you to understand something. If a video that someone has made about me online has not reached like 1 million fucking views or 500,000 views in like 2 days, and you bring it up in here, and I click on that video, okay, of like this person made a call out video on you, and I click on the video and it's got like 20,000 views, I will permanently ban you. Okay? You know who you are in the chat. Okay? You know who you are in the chat. You keep fucking writing in the chat. Do you understand? Unless a video has reached a certain level, okay, it could be from someone that I like. It could be from someone that I don't like. Okay? It could be someone that's like criticizing me or whatever. Okay? I'm telling you right now, I cannot watch every single YouTube video that is made about me. Okay? If a video has reached like a couple 100,000 views in like a day or two, it's worthy of being addressed. If it has not, I'm not going to watch it. Okay? Please. Because otherwise, you're giving free clout.
They're asking those questions hypothetically because he won't appear on their shows either.
The reason I think that is because for the last 4 years, I keep like a running list of questions for Joe Biden, and I have watched interview after interview that he has done sit-downs, and pretty much none of them get answered.
Yeah. And
Or
do we
asked or answered.
indeed? And do we have any idea who the person might be who gets the interview?
Not yet.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Peter.
Glad you're healthy.
Yes, it's been 36 days since she jumped into the campaign and has not had a sit-down interview. People do have questions about her policy because we heard her at the DNC. She just bashed Donald Trump, and they all talked about abortion, the abortion issue, but never talked about what her policies are going to be. If you go on her website, her policies are not listed. Tom Cotton sat down on one of the Sunday shows, and he says we all deserve to see her in an interview. Listen.
When she campaigned for president, in her own right, she did in fact promise things like decriminalizing illegal immigration.
Are you voting for her, or will you not say because you don't want to endorse her? Just curious, because not sure where you stand. What difference does it make in your calculation? Like I'm being for real. Like it doesn't change my analysis even a little bit. What difference does that fucking make? I don't know why people keep consistently asking me. I've already told you, okay? I don't know. That's it. And it has nothing, it literally has nothing to do with my analysis regardless. Okay?
Taking away health
But
insurance
that's
from
his
the job.
position she's clearly changed on, and
No,
she
she
has said
hasn't.
she has changed. Yes, she has.
No, she has not. John, she has not said that. She's not. You pointed out, Senator Sanders, repeatedly things that her campaign has said. Anonymous aides speaking on background to reporters has said, well, she no longer believes these things. Okay, maybe she has changed her position on things like taking away your health insurance and confiscating your gun.
And to the many people in the chat that say, oh, dude, your advocacy for her will change the outcome of this election, then they should listen to me. Okay? Perhaps people don't want to watch you if you are voting for Trump. Yeah, if you think I'm voting for Trump, then you should probably stop watching me, stop watching anything online, and immediately check in to a mental institution to get, you know, some kind of some kind of competency test, because you would have to be hallucinating an entirely separate reality. It was just a guess, lol. Because if you're not voting at all, that tells me a lot. What? It doesn't tell you. First of all, I've never said I'm not voting at all. And secondly, it doesn't tell you shit. It also doesn't change my analysis at all. So what the fuck are you talking about? Like everything that I talk about campaign strategy from the Republican side as well. Like, what do you mean? Does that mean I'm a Republican strategist? No. It's so funny to me when people can't comprehend the concept that people on the left having different personal beliefs and convictions. Like, you know how libbed up I am. Imagine if I was constantly coming after you for not matching my lib level is how these chatters act. Yeah. What's your opinion on single issue voters, even when the single issue is morally just and deserves defending? I mean, I think it's understandable. Guys, we are fundamentally at odds if you are a firm and committed believer that like everyone should be voting on the basis of harm reduction, because most people don't do that anyway, okay? You just are wish casting a different universe, a different reality. And you want me to present that reality in my advocacy, okay? I'm not going to tell you to vote at harm reduction. I will tell you, vote whoever the fuck you want to vote for as long as it's not Donald Trump, okay? You know, I will never tell you to vote for Donald Trump. I will urge you not to vote for Donald Trump. That would be ridiculous. Having said that, however, it is perfectly valid, perfectly understandable, perfectly normal. It is, as a matter of fact, probably the fundamental starting point of a democratic process, okay, to demand concessions from your elected representatives. That is why we have a democracy. Okay? Like, why the fuck do we have a democracy if that's not how this works? If there is no basis for the democratic process, okay, if there's no base for the democratic process, and there are plenty of undemocratic things that happen, okay, regardless, like the top of the hour ad break, unless there is an outsized number of people who are subscribed at the top of the hour, so they don't even see the 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. Which, by the way, you can be a part of that group, a part of that constituency, by subscribing for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime, or by getting gifted a sub. Okay? Why do people act like Trump will be better on Gaza issue? I mean, they're wrong if they do say that. They're objectively wrong. But as it stands, it's not Donald Trump that is currently conducting the genocide. It is the Democratic Party. That is a fact. You don't want to recognize that fact, and you want people to hyper-focus on something else that they are not going to hyper-focus on. It's just not how it works. Okay? Just like I can't move the needle in a genuine direction that is the opposite of like what mainstream media is pumping out, what the campaigns are pumping out. I just can't. I can't do that. I don't have that kind of power. No one does. No person outside of the much larger media ecosystem has that kind of power. Okay? Anyway, here's the 3-minute ad break now. Like I said, it's coming for you.
If she has changed her position, she owes it to the American people to come out and say in her own words when she changed and why she changed. That's one reason why she needs to address the American people and speak to these questions.
Yeah, one of the many reasons.
right.
See, and I laughed too because this guy, another one of these pollsters, said, I don't think she should talk to press at all because she's doing good the way she is right now. She should just be talking to the people. She doesn't talk to the people. She talks to them, doesn't hear any of the questions. She's not listening to the people. She goes and gives a speech in front of a supportive crowd.
A teleprompter.
Right, through a teleprompter. And by the way, I'm not too sure. Her momentum is done. Trump had it in July. She had it in August. But now it's flat-footed tie. And in places like, I don't know if you've seen the Siena New York Times poll, in Georgia, Trump's up 6. So there's a push, and there'll be a bump from this. But after this, I think people are really going to have a discerning look at what exactly she stands for, because you can't even dispute what she stands for because you don't know what Kamala Harris you're fighting. Are you fighting the vice president? Are you fighting the senator? Are you...
Kamala won't magically win this election. Everyone must do what they can, especially if you have an audience. Brother, I don't think you understand this, okay? Politicians need to earn your votes. That is what the democratic process is about, okay? If you want me or my community to go out and do door knocking and vociferously defend Kamala Harris, then you need to understand that she needs to give the progressive side of her base something that they can stick to. Okay? I don't care. This is a nice narrative, but Trump is literally on the other side. I know that. That's not how this works, though. Because even if I were to fucking turn around and engage in a door knocking operation for Kamala Harris, which would be hilarious because there are no policies to door knock for, okay? There's literally nothing you can do in your advocacy. If you were currently going to engage in a canvassing operation for Kamala Harris, there is no material that you can use. Did you know that? No, you don't, because you're operating on fucking vibes like a dumbass, okay? There is literally no campaign materials to canvass on currently. What the fuck are you talking about? This is why I always say you cannot change the trajectory of a campaign. If a campaign is making the wrong moves, the most I can do, the most impact I can have in this upcoming election is if by some random happenstance, I have Kamala Harris staffers that are watching that then go, oh shit, he's actually right. We should probably work on this and change it. That's the most impact I have currently. Huh. It is very frustrating that people constantly engage in this silly ass fucking harm reduction argument when that didn't fucking work in 2016. Okay? No politician is owed your support. They are not entitled to your support. They must earn it. This is the fundamental principle of democracy, of the democratic process. Stop fucking chirping, smile and dial. Okay? Because if you consider what you're doing to be canvassing currently in the digital sphere at the behest of Kamala Harris's campaign, you're actually barking up the wrong tree. Okay? You are not going to be able to move me or many members in this community on this position. You're certainly not going to be able to move me on this position. Okay? Especially if you think that this is the first time I've encountered this narrative. I guess you weren't here in all of the other election cycles that I have obviously covered. Okay? Go lobby the fucking campaign to get them to hear the demands of the progressive base in order to secure their support, because that will have significantly larger impact on the outcome of the election than you being able to successfully lobby me into advocating for Kamala Harris. That's it.
Fighting this new person who's running on Donald Trump's issues, like strong on the border, fighting crime, a strong defense, red, white, and blue. Excuse me, it's like David Plouffe came in there and said the reason why Trump is popular is because of these things. So let's give him to Harris. And I think the most egregious example was the tips. But I didn't know that was the tip of the iceberg of the theft of the Republican Party.
Well, both sides know that the debate, aside from this interview that's supposedly going to happen
All of
in the
these
next
guys
5
are
days,
wrong, by the way.
debate could change the trajectory of the race, because after this interview, then there's going to be one debate that we know of, although Donald Trump is suggesting maybe he might not do it after whatever he saw on ABC. So ultimately, if that changes the trajectory, the less she says, the better. So I get what the pollster is saying, but at the same time, Tom Cotton is right. All we know, the only words we have heard her that have come out of her mouth were things that she said about her policy in 2019. And for Peter Doocy to just say that he's heard from people close to her in the campaign, but it's all on background, that is how they are programming the press. They're saying, okay, on background, this is, she's changed her position. But we need to hear her say, I've changed my position.
How are we supposed to believe that? Joe Biden ran on being a moderate. He was going to unite our country. Our country has never been this divided since I can remember. It didn't work. He lied to the American people. He ended up voting in such a progressive manner. And how do we know she's not going to do that? That's the way she stood throughout her entire political career.
Here's the hope. They keep booking people like Tom Cotton, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance on the other networks where they get their point out. These hosts have nothing to stand on. Jonathan Karl is a pretty adept guy, but he has no follow-up because he knows Tom Cotton's 110% right. You could sit there and say, why did Donald Trump didn't say this or that the whole time? But at one point, when you invite other people on, you're going to hear it. And there's independence.
Like, she just literally said, like, he was just really progressive. He didn't unite the country. He divided it further.
And undecideds that watch.
Day 1 million of wishing the left-wing Fox News imagined was real. I know. That's another reason why I like watching. I like watching the Fox News commentary on, you know, the Democratic ticket, because, like, I like to close my eyes and imagine that that is how it is. You know?
Those networks. And when his surrogates go out there the Governor Burgum and others. Marco Rubio, when he comes back, I guess he's on vacation now. When you book these guys in Lindsey Graham, you get the other side.
You do.
So that's the hope.
It's also kind of funny because like they contradict themselves on a regular basis. Where like in one breath, okay, in one breath, they say Kamala Harris is adopting the Republican policies so firmly by putting out a patriotic message, screaming USA, USA. And on the other front, they're like, but she's a communist. So which one is it? I guess it's both.
Meanwhile, also I have to say this, front page of the New York Times, the first gentleman is a sex symbol. Please. I've seen
second gentleman.
Second gentleman. He wants to be the first gentleman.
Okay.
He says he's a sex symbol. When Doug, what's his last name? Emhoff is a sex symbol. I think that goes beyond reproach.
And this is
in terms of biases. There's a third story in the New York Times, sex symbol, Doug Emhoff.
That surprises me. I don't expect that from the New York Times.
What was the lead story?
How great, no. The other story was how Kamala Harris is not from Berkeley. She's from Oakland because it makes it seem rugged and tough.
Okay.
As opposed to Berkeley, which is berserk.
You're spending a lot of time in the New York Times. We have a website, foxnews.com.
Got to be prepared.
Just saying. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.